Rupert Bell, how are you?
Very good, thank you, Jeremy.
Haven't seen you for ages, Billy. You're back in that cubby hole, aren't you? Before we talk about anything else, as we approach Champions Day at Ascot Saturday, how's the brother done winners-wise this season? How many has he had?
Well, they may not have had high-profile winners, but he's had a pretty comfortably good season. So I'm very proud of the young boy.
How many?
40, over 40-odd winners.
He's had 46, Rupert.
Well, there you go. At least, yeah, of which one of them I did have a bit of a leg in, but unfortunately the horse picked up an injury.
Yeah,
but,
there's a surprise. That was your leg that he got injured. Listen, he's done well, and the young boys, everybody's doing well, but you and I are still sat here. Mate, I wanted to get you on because I want to talk about this Charles thing that has sort of come out, but monarchists, Australia seems to be a hotbed of criticism. Basically, every Australian state leader has given King Charles the cold shoulder. And monarchists have accused the state premiers of insulting King Charles, as they won't be at a reception when he comes to the country. The King's visit, which we know starts later this week, will include a reception in Canberra, but the 6 state premiers, that of New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, Southern Australia and Tasmania, have said they're unable to attend. I just wanted to put this to you on the day that we've heard the Caribbean island of Barbados, that we both know very well, demanding reparations. Do you think that Australia is becoming ever nearer to a republic and wants to move away from its involvement with our monarchy?
I mean, I think they probably... It's the other side of the world, and you could understand there will be... And let's look at the demographic of Australia now. It's a very different country now, with its closer links to Asia and all that. Its dynamic is different. And the King's not naive. And I'm sure, I don't know whether in previous state visits and that when the Queen may have been there and the Prince Charles, whether there was a 3-line whip for these state premiers to turn up. So I couldn't say whether that is the case and whether it's a different dynamic. But clearly there has been a big debate within Australia about, do we still need a head of state the other side of the world? And you can understand Australians having that discussion in a modern era.
And I also want to jump in and say, I think you made a really good point there, that perhaps the reason for it being now at the forefront is because I think there was such huge love and respect for the Queen, 70+ years on the throne, that maybe any aspirations that certain governments or countries had, and I'm with you. Listen, you know, it's thousands and thousands of miles away. What is the relevance? I completely get that. Maybe there's a feeling amongst these places that you know, however upsetting it will be for monarchies, that now's the time to talk about it with the Queen no longer with us, Rupert.
Yeah, and the King is not naive, and he's always said this, and it was the same when it came to Barbados, as you say, a country that we've had some lovely times in, and it's and they've moved on. Of course, there is a different undercurrent going on with some of the Caribbean countries. With Australia, I think he's taking the view. I love it. It's been part of his life from a very long time, and he's loved going to Australia. And given that he's recovering from cancer, it's not going to be the full trip that he had hoped. He'll go on to Samoa as well. But I think there will be, obviously, rumblings in the Australian camp. But the current Australian Prime Minister has said that an independence referendum is not on the agenda. But it is something that will be discussed. The King is quite aware of what's going on. But it's a positive sign that he's going there. I'm sure he'll hear both sides of the argument, but it's not really his decision one way or another. He will just have to be accepting of the decision. And I'm sure, like Barbados, they will remain if they win and may make the decision. And I think we probably have to accept the decision will come when, not necessarily in the short term, but I'm sure Australia will. But the 3 countries, New Zealand, Australia and Canada, at the moment aren't showing obvious indication that they want to change the status quo. But Australia is now maturing. It's a very different country than even when the Queen ascended to the throne, when the Queen died, and now the King's there. It is a very changed country. But obviously, whether the premiers of the various states are making a point just to say, look, we are our own bosses and we don't bow to the king. I'm not sure. I'm not privy enough to Australian politics. But, you know, you feel that in Canberra, even the one nearest to Canberra might have found a way in his diary to get there.
You know, it's really interesting because you and I would be fervent royalists, but I'm very much like you on this. I can see that the timing and the way the world has changed will probably mean that those questions need to be talked about. Just also, saw Kate out and about last week. What's the latest with her? Any news on? She continues to get better, I'm guessing, but a steady progress and steadily back to work.
It's like just like the King's going out with his doctors. It's every day as it's taken, and see how she is. I think last week was a terrific step forward. It meant she obviously felt well enough to go to Southport as a team, back on the road again. Look, the thing is, 10 months now since the cancer diagnosis. It clearly has been far more problematic than the King because he's been out and about and feels well enough to go to Australia. You and I know going to Australia is, you know, you get off the plane when you land in Sydney, you feel like you've hit a wall and you don't know where you are, who you are and what your name is.
That's a hard journey, that, mate, isn't it? God, we've done that.
It is. I know that he won't be at the back of the plane. He will be in a comfortable position on that particular flight to Australia. So I'm not worried about the comfort factor, but it's still when your body's then going to be thrown out of sync. But to see the Princess of Wales back out and about, doing a more conventional state visit, as it were, going to the people of Southport, I thought that was a very positive sign, but don't suddenly see it as a means that she's going to be out every day of the week. It will be managed as it has been throughout. The next time I think we probably will see her, but you never know. We're slightly blindsided by last week at Southport. Will be at a Remembrance Day service in London.
Just very quickly, because how could I go through a part without asking about this? Harry and Meghan, when do they split in your mind? I told you 5 years and nothing more. What do you reckon?
I'm no marriage guidance counsellor.
No, because I'd have come to you if I was.
I'm basically going to sit on the fence like Keir Starmer and not give you an answer.
OK, that's fair enough. Champions Day this Saturday at Ascot.
I will be in Portugal.
I can't believe what I'm going to say, and I can't believe that I'm going to say this on national radio. Guess where I'm going on Saturday with my wife and kids for a week?
Portugal.
Yes. Honestly, mate, this is ludicrous.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to be in Porto, so I hope we're a million miles from each other.
I was gonna give you a lift, but you can start off now. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy your holiday, Rupert Bell.